Hey, it's Zane. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you being here as always. And in today's video, I want to talk about why you should save in Bitcoin, not dollars. Why you should save in Bitcoin and not dollars. And this is a really important conversation, and I believe that a lot of people are going to wake up to this in the short to medium term. They're going to realize that if they want to preserve and protect their purchasing power, their financial energy, it is basically financial suicide to be saving in dollars. And Bitcoin is the solution to this because inherently, at its core, Bitcoin is the ultimate savings technology. And I want to explain to you why that is here today. And this has implications for your retirement funding, your superannuation, your 401k. It has implications if you're in the younger generation, saving potentially for a house at some point in the future, or maybe you've been locked out of the housing market and you want to get back in at some point. If you think you can save your way to home ownership, you're basically kidding yourself. Unless you're in the top 3 to 5% of income earners, or you have access to an inheritance or some form of windfall, there's no way you're going to be able to get into the housing market. And there are lots of statistics out there at the moment to indicate that with Australia's median house price eclipsing, I believe, about $1.2 million now, it essentially equates to 13 to 15 times the average Australian wage. And so, it's not hard to realise when you're considering you need after-tax dollars to save for a deposit for a home, that, for most people, it's going to take 15 to 20 years just to save for the deposit to put the down payment on that home. But of course, once they get to that point, what is the price of the home that they are wanting to buy? Obviously, it's gone up significantly over that time. And so, anybody who's not in the housing market now, who sees real estate as a great store of value, who's not paying attention to Bitcoin, they're going to find out pretty quickly that it's pretty much a lost cause trying to save for a home now. And this is all by design. This is all due to inflation. This is all due to real estate being financialized the way that it has been every time mortgages are issued. A lot of people don't realize that they're not drawing on a fixed amount of currency in the system to re-lend to borrowers for a mortgage. They're actually just essentially issuing more currency, digits on a screen, pushing a few buttons, and they're issuing more currency to generate a mortgage, $500,000, $1 million mortgage, whatever it might be, thereby creating extra inflation in the housing market. And so the whole system, the debt-based system, really is a Ponzi scheme at its core. And the more you save in that scheme, the more your financial future is being eroded. The more your savings are being diluted. Because every time that button is pushed, there is more currency in circulation, and that is diluting the purchasing power of your savings. And like I said, this implicates savings you have in the bank, savings you're saving to go on a holiday or for a house deposit, savings in your retirement funds, superannuation, 401k. And this is why right now I believe that anybody who cares about their financial future really needs to be paying attention to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the ultimate savings technology. Now, why is that? Why is it that Bitcoin protects and preserves and grows your purchasing power over time? Why is that? The reason for this is because Bitcoin is the only monetary protocol, the only monetary technology humanity has ever created that is absolutely scarce, fixed, finite. You can never create any more of it. It doesn't matter how deep the pockets are of the wealthiest institutions and governments in the world are who want to buy it. Nothing will change the fixed supply nature of Bitcoin. There is only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be mined, that will ever be put to market. And already about 97% of that has already been mined and is already in the market. And so we're going to get to a point very soon where you will no longer actually be able to acquire Bitcoin on an exchange or via a brokerage. There just won't be any available for sale. The only way you're going to be able to get Bitcoin is if somebody is prepared to either sell it to you or you decide or demand to be paid in Bitcoin for your services. And so you'll be able to actually earn Satoshis, earn Bitcoin for your services. And I believe we're going to get to a point very, very soon, within the next 5 years, where a lot of people are simply not going to be prepared to work for worthless fiat currencies anymore. They're no longer going to be prepared to work for dollars anymore. Because why would you? Why would you work for something that can be printed? It just makes no sense. And particularly in an inflationary environment such as we have now, that is not going away, that is only going to get worse, and wages will never, ever, ever keep up with inflation. And so essentially this problem, we've reached the point of no return now. And so now is the time when you have to be learning about Bitcoin, learning what it is, understanding that it is an incorruptible savings technology, a monetary protocol where the rules cannot be changed no matter who buys it. And I'm not sure about you, but that is a place that I want to store my life savings, my economic value and my economic energy, because it is inherently deflationary. Now, when you store your value, your savings in a deflationary protocol instead of an inflationary monetary system, so you've got the inflationary monetary system, which is the dollar. Currency is always being produced, inflated, thereby diluting your purchasing power. And then over here on the other side, we have an inherently deflationary protocol where they cannot make any more of it. And so you have to choose where you want to store your economic value. You have to ask yourself, do I value myself enough and what I give out to the world? And in return for that exchange, I'm going to store that economic value that I give out to the world and receive currency in return. Am I going to store that in a worthless currency that is being eroded? Or am I going to plug it into the alternate savings technology where my value is going to be protected, preserved, honoured, and it's going to actually grow over time? Deflationary means that the price of everything around you actually goes down over time, not up. And so when you start to save in Bitcoin, this is what you notice. You notice that when you price things in the currency that you're saving in, which is Bitcoin and Satoshis, you start to notice that the price of everything around you actually starts to fall, not go up. You know, and I often talk about the most, I guess, really obvious example of this is when we start pricing real estate, houses, in Bitcoin, and we compare that to placing or pricing real estate in dollars. So I want you to go and price a house. It might be the house you live in. It might be somebody you know if you don't have a house. It might be an investment property. But I want you to go and price that house from 3 years ago. And I want you to price it in Bitcoin, what Bitcoin was valued at 3 years ago. And in round figures, it was sitting at around about 32,000 Australian dollars, somewhere around that. Don't quote me on that, but somewhere in that vicinity, about 3 years ago. And you can look this up. It's easy to find on Google. And then look at what the fiat Australian dollar price was of that home 3 years ago. Again, you'll be able to find it on Google, get some kind of a valuation chart that will show what that house was worth 3 years ago, right? So you've got your Bitcoin price and you've got your Australian dollar price for that home. Now what I want you to do is to see what the price of that house is valued at now. Google, again, will be your best friend. All sorts of applications on there that essentially provide you price guides on what real estate is worth in today's dollars. So you can very easily see roughly what that piece of real estate is worth today. And we know that Bitcoin today is hovering around, in Australian dollars, about 160,000 Australian, which is about 100,000 USD. And so I did this exercise for myself from a piece of real estate that we purchased a few years ago. And what I discovered was absolutely shocking, really shocking, because the illusion is that the piece of real estate that was purchased, 1.5 million in 2022, at the time it was about 47 Bitcoin. Fast forward to today, 3 years later, even though that house has gone up in value up to $2 million, so it's gone up 25% in 3 years. When you price it in Bitcoin, what you notice is that it's fallen to around 12 Bitcoin. So around 12 Bitcoin today for a $2 million piece of real estate. 3 years ago, $1.5 million piece of real estate, 47 Bitcoin. And so the house has gone up in Aussie dollars by 25%, but it's fallen when priced in the hardest form of money that can't be corrupted, i.e. Bitcoin, it's fallen by 75%. To put it another way, had I put the 47 or the 1.5 million into Bitcoin instead of the house, that 47 Bitcoin today is worth about 7.7 million Australian dollars. And so these are the kinds of wake-up calls that we need, because right now we've got choices to make. If you're in your late 40s, early 50s, maybe even mid to late 50s, and you're thinking about retirement, you're thinking about setting yourself up for your future in the next 10 to 15 years and never having to worry about money again, you need to pay attention to how you're storing your economic value, how you're diversifying your capital allocation. And if you just sit in assets that are only going to perform at 8 to 10% a year, when we know that the true inflation rate is more like 13 to 15% a year, then essentially you're selling out your financial future, and you may not even know it, because people are busy. We're doing our normal jobs, our normal businesses, family life, you name it. We don't typically pay attention to this stuff day to day. So you need people like me out there, getting on videos and that kind of sounding the alarm bell for you to kind of stop and just think for a moment, wow, well, maybe I need to look into this. Don't just trust me. I invite you to actually go and do some research for yourself so you can verify what I'm saying is true. And so the reality is this is where we are now. And so if you're thinking about retirement, go and look at your superannuation fund. What you'll find is it's doing 7 to 8% a year. It's not enough. If you leave your money in there for the next 10 to 15 years at 7 to 8%, you're selling out your financial future. And people who are waking up to this now, what they're doing is they're saying, hang on a minute, I'm not doing that. I've worked too hard for the last 20, 30, 40 years to just not pay attention to my retirement account, and to get to the age of 60, 65 to go to collect it, only to realize that I don't have anywhere near enough because I didn't strategically pay attention to what was going on when I could have done that. And so now you have the opportunity to do that. But if you wait 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, it's going to be far too late. Now, Bitcoin is the best and ultimate savings technology because we know that historically, whilst every other asset on earth over the last 10 years has been performing at 7 to 8%, what's Bitcoin been doing? 55 to 60%. So where would you prefer to park your capital? In an asset that over the past decade has been performing at 7 to 8%, or in an asset that over the past decade, a savings technology that has been performing at 55 to 60%. This is the choice you have to make now. And again, don't just take my word for it. Do a little research yourself and you'll be able to verify that what I'm saying is true. And then based on what you find, you then need to make a decision that makes sense for you. And so in my mind, Bitcoin is the ultimate savings technology, whether you're a young person in your 20s looking to save for a house and you want to actually accelerate your way to home ownership rather than basically forget the whole opportunity altogether because you just realize you have no chance if you're saving dollars. So whether you're in that boat or whether you're on the other side of the spectrum, I'm 52, whatever age you're at, if you're in that sort of middle stages of life around this sort of region, late 40s to early 60s even, you've got some big choices to make as to where you want your financial future to be in the next 5, 10, 15 years. And you really need to be taking a very, very, very close look at Bitcoin as a savings technology, not just for number go up, not just protecting and preserving your economic value in your capital, not just for the capital growth and the wealth creation and acceleration technology that Bitcoin is, but also for the other really powerful attribute of Bitcoin, and that is its decentralization. The fact that it is separation of money from state. For the first time in history, you and I have the opportunity to be our own bank, to be the heads of security of our own financial life. No permission needed, no counterparties required, nobody you need to call, totally outside the system, no risk of capital controls, no bank teller telling you that you can't withdraw $3,000 to $5,000 today. None of that. And so this is the choice you have to make now. So should you save in Bitcoin? I think absolutely. Do the research for yourself. Decide for yourself what you think. But I believe that Bitcoin is the ultimate savings technology. And when you consider that it is also completely portable, permissionless, global, decentralized, the most liquid asset on earth, trades 24/7, 365, you need to take all of this into account. So if you got value today, please leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you need to book a call with me, I do one-on-one Zoom calls every single week. My calendar fills up quick. I'd love to meet you on Zoom to guide you, help you get started on your Bitcoin journey, make sure you don't make any mistakes, level up whatever situation you have right now. It might be to do with self-custody, security, those kinds of things. I can guide you in that area. Maybe you're looking to set up a Bitcoin-friendly retirement plan, and I have the right experts that I can refer you to who are qualified to set you up with a fully compliant, self-managed super fund that enables you to buy Bitcoin and take self-custody. Really important given the environment that we're in right now. I'm going to leave it there today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and otherwise book a call with me. You'll see the link in the show notes below. And other than that, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks for watching. This is Zane signing out. Bye for now.